Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be chatting with Tiago Forte all about being a new dad and what it means for your productivity. Hopefully we think this content will be helpful for anyone that might be becoming a dad in the future. But if you did want to see our video that we did all about Tiago's apps, you can jump over to that video. It will be linked in the description, as well as Tiago's brand new book, Building a Second Brain. Tiago, it's great to have you back.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, so you've got Kaio, who's 19 months old, right?
That's right.
And like I've got Otto, who's 20, well, it's just 2 months now, 2 years and 2 months. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the sort of changes to our productivity. And I want to first talk about the sort of preparation to becoming a dad, because nothing really prepares you, right? But at the same time, there are some things you could potentially do that might find valuable. Is there anything that you did in advance or in hindsight would have liked to have done to prepare yourself a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, build a second brain. Like, honestly, I hate to tie it in that directly, but, I had this experience much earlier in my early 20s, which I write about in the book and I've talked about, of having a chronic illness, of having chronic pain. And the medication that I took to deal with that pain caused severe short-term memory loss, where I would have an experience, let's say, have dinner with someone, and a few days later have zero memory of it. It was like having my memory wiped, which is an experience I wouldn't wish on anyone, obviously. And it's something that you have, until you've experienced it, you can't imagine what that's like. But what that taught me was that I couldn't rely on my first brain. It really demonstrated for me that my first brain, my biological brain, was so fragile, so fickle, and I had to rely on these external systems. Well, a decade and a half later, that was the very same lesson. Like that was in a way the best preparation, because when we had Caillou, our son, sleep deprivation is another one of those experiences. Until you've experienced chronic, week after week, month after month sleep deprivation, you simply can't imagine how painful it is.
Yeah. I guess those sort of lessons are like interchanging. They can be brought into sort of this environment. Like the sleep deprivation thing, someone gave me awful advice, which I took. It's get your phone and several alarm clocks and just set them around your house to go off at random times. And I took this advice, and the first night I did it, and we didn't even have Otto. The first night, I was just running around each of the bits of the house, just trying to like turn these alarms off, and I was like, this was such a stupid idea.
What was the reason for that?
Well, like a baby, right?
To prepare for what it's like.
To prepare for the mental... So there's a bit of a sort of silly idea, I guess. But we were talking about like the changes it's made to the way that you think about tasks and time and constraints. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. This is one of the most profound things for me, is I really had this idea all through my 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, that once I became a father, it was like my life was over. Like a negative scarcity.
Oh, really?
Based. Oh, yeah. I thought that's the end. The fun is over. Now I'm just a boring suburban dad. I'll have no more interesting experiences, no more personal growth.
Yeah.
The business will stagnate. Like I really had this very negative view of fatherhood, which is why I put it off until I was, 36. And I found, and again, you won't really get this until you experience it, but that it's been the best thing ever for my productivity, because it forced me to recognize my limits. It forced me to recognize constraints on my time. And instead of just throwing hours at a problem, countless hours, staying up all night, working through the weekend, working through vacation, which you can kind of do when the impact is only on you. Yeah. Once I saw that engaging in those behaviors was going to impact my wife, my son, my family in general, it was like this iron wall of accountability that I was not going to cross that boundary.
Yeah.
And so I learned to delegate. I learned to manage people. I learned to be clear on my priorities and actually follow my priorities.
Yeah.
I learned to, choose my most important goal and then only focus on that goal. All these lessons that I knew intellectually, but not in my real life.
It's not until you had that hard stop that it actually forced you to think like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. I think the same for me, although like I was talking to you a lot, it's the delegation side that I struggle with. But in that time period, I think from having Otto, I have made a hire and made an app. So it has helped to force me to go like, what's important? Because, and then that really does bring you closer to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Because you know, like, okay, I've only got a set amount of time in my day.
Yeah.
No, so I think that's really good because I think, like we were talking, we don't find, when I was looking at least for like new dad productivity content, there wasn't any. And it would have been nice to have had something where we talked about that side of stuff. So I think it would be good. If anybody as well is a dad that wants to share any productivity advice, I think the comments can be used as notes for people as well. So thanks, Tiago.
Absolutely.
That was good fun.